दिल्ली का श्रद्धा वालकर मर्डर केस इस महीने डिस्कवर किया गया। केस की 10 अहम डिटेल्स अगले 2 मिनट में। 26 साल की श्रद्धा के लिव इन पार्टनर 28 साल के आफ्ताब अमीन पूनावाला ने कथित रूप से उसे मारकर उसके शरीर के 35 टुकड़े करके जंगल में फेंके। कत्ल 18 मई को इनके साउथ दिल्ली के छतरपुर के रेंटेड घर में हुआ और इन टुकड़ों को आफ्ताब अगले 18 दिन हर रोज पास के जंगल में फेंकता रहा। डेड बॉडी की बदबू को अवॉइड करने के लिए आफ्ताब ने एक बड़ा फ्रिज खरीदा, अगरबत्तियां जगाई। इन्वेस्टिगेटर्स का मानना है कि इस जुर्म की इंस्पिरेशन उसने अमेरिकन क्राइम शो डेक्स्टर से भी ली। आफ्ताब और श्रद्धा मुंबई में एक डेटिंग ऐप के जरिए मिले थे, लेकिन इंटरफेथ रिलेशनशिप की वजह से श्रद्धा's पेरेंट्स डिडंट अप्रूव ऑफ हिम, जिसकी वजह से वो भागकर दिल्ली में आ गए, जहां मई में शादी और खर्चों को लेकर झगड़े ने बढ़कर इस जुर्म का रूप ले लिया। मां के गुजर जाने के बाद श्रद्धा अपने फादर से कांटेक्ट कट कर चुकी थी, लेकिन कुछ दोस्तों को उसने डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस के बारे में इत्तला जरूर किया था। इट वाज इन अगस्त व्हेन हर फ्रेंड टोल्ड हर फादर दैट शी इज अनरीचेबल एंड देन द फादर स्टार्टेड लुकिंग फॉर हर। इन्वेस्टिगेशन में आफ्ताब ने सबसे पहले कहा कि श्रद्धा 22 मई को घर छोड़कर अपने साथ अपना फोन लेकर भाग गई थी। अब आफ्ताब का क्राइम पकड़ा कैसे गया? 26 मई को आफ्ताब ने श्रद्धा के अकाउंट से पैसे अपने अकाउंट में ट्रांसफर किए, तो यहां पे लोकेशन के कुछ ट्रेसेस उसने छोड़ दिए। वहीं किसी को शक ना हो इसलिए आफ्ताब श्रद्धा के इंस्टाग्राम को एक्टिव रख रहा था और मई में उसकी फ्रेंड के साथ चैट भी कर रहा था। तो पुलिस ने क्वेश्चन किया कि अगर वो 22 मई को घर छोड़कर जा चुकी थी तो 31 मई की चैट उसके घर की लोकेशन से कैसे हो रही थी? It was at this moment when Aftab revealed the truth. Just about 15 to 20 days after killing Shraddha, he met another woman on the same app and brought her home, moving the parts to a couple. पुलिस आफ्ताब को उन जंगलों में भी लेकर गई जहां उसने बॉडी पार्ट्स डंप किए। A report of DNA test to establish whether those are Shraddha's parts will take 15 days, say the police. Victim's father, Kushal Walkar, on Tuesday demanded the death penalty for Aftab Amin Poonawalla, while also suspecting a love jihad angle behind the incident.
Hi, this is Khalid Beg and welcome to yet another episode of India This Week. We are joined yet again by one of India's finest rationalist YouTubers, Kushal Mehra. Welcome back, Kushal.
Thanks for having me, Khalid and Amna. It's always a pleasure to talk to you guys.
Right, so today we're going to talk about basically the brutal, ghastly murder of Shraddha Walkar, 26-year-old Mumbai girl who was killed by her live-in partner, Aftab Poonawalla, 28-year-old psycho beast. It's a murder which has sent, the chills across the spine, across the country. It's being spoken on TV, it's been spoken on social media, and rightly so, because the way it was done, one doesn't want to get into the gory details because it's been spoken ad nauseum, but yet again, just to speak about it, how he first killed her, then chopped her into 35 pieces, then, disposed that off in different parts of Delhi. Now, I want to get into something else, Kushal. I want to speak about, there is this memes that those are floating around on the internet, Indian internet, by sections of users, which have made jokes about this 300-liter fridge that he got where he used to, store her body parts. Now, the argument could be that one of it is just like some people enjoying dark humor. And many also are victim shaming, saying that, as a Hindu, she should have known better. This is the pattern with a lot of, Hindu-Muslim, affairs, which then turns sour in cases like that. How do you view it, that this particular thing of memes floating around about fridge and, and there being so many of them now on the internet?
Well, first of all, we don't know if every meme is emanating from India because we simply don't know where every meme emanates from, and there's so many bots. And having said all of that, there are three key factors for me that I can extract from this. First is like now we know with confidence that the average IQ India stands at around 76 to 80 ke beech mein. So Twitter in that weird way kind of proves it every time by these imbecilic behavioral patterns that yes, our IQ is really low. Because secondly, the main issue over here is not just the intelligence of people, it is the overall mindset of society. What is the mindset over here? When you sly on a woman who has been brutally murdered tortured. And now we know that she was being physically abused for a long time. She was in an abusive relationship for a while, because I think some of her WhatsApp chats with her friends have been released, and people know she was in an abusive relationship. So now what do, like, why was she there? Arey Baba, I mean, there is enough psychological material, there is enough sociological material that yes, it's not easy to get out of an abusive relationship. But beyond this entire process, what we need to see is that there is a total lack of empathy, or sympathy, anything. Two, it clearly shows a society where women are treated as private property primarily. They're literally treated as personal property of men and of the society at large. That the society at large, which is generated and generating ideas driven by men, are going to decide what is the destiny of a woman. Women have no agency. That's point number one. Point number two is that women are tilth. Women are tilth is the basic concept that women are basically baby making factories, and our entire outlook has to be कि बस इनको तो ऐसे ही control करना है. Once you accept that this is how the lens is, that's why these people, these horrendous memes and these horrific people, and I have no problem in calling them horrific people, are saying these things, is that आप करोगे क्या? This is how they think. They have been they have been mentally prepared to think like that. I'm going to say something very controversial. Religion actually adds to this, because religion by default is structured in a very patriarchal way. People may not like it. All religions do it in differing degrees. I don't know why women are more religious than men. That mystery has never been solved in my brain, but they are. And it is just a mixture and mishmash of this entire thing. And whether you like it or not, this is the reality. Because if you think Shraddha was the problem, you think women are private property that can be owned and controlled by men. And only then would you actually come up with such absurd arguments. Instead of looking at it from a sociological perspective, from an evolutionary perspective, from a psychological perspective, and trying to understand, look, I am not here to say that we will ever reduce heinous crimes to zero. This is not the last time this is happening. It is going to happen again. But what we can do is, if it was a mature society's response would have been not shaming the girl, looking at the telltale signs of why does a murder like this happen? How do we train girls that if they are in an abusive relationship, how do they get out of it? How do we counsel them out of it? How does society respond in a situation like this? Two, how we also counsel children that I think you should not break ties with their parents. You know, having a healthy relationship with the family. Now, it doesn't mean parents control your destiny. I'm not trying to say that. But try to work through the problems. Or counsel young men to not be barbarians. You know, men also need to be counseled. And this was the perfect, and we've had opportunity after opportunity in India, whether it was the Nirbhaya rapes, whether it was the ones before them, whether it is every time a heinous crime of a different kind happens. Instead of looking at the bare bones and breaking things down in a rational manner, trying to reach the people and explaining to them, we basically go to the lowest common denominator and everything becomes that. That shows how stupid our society is on average, and the IQ scores bear that out.
Amina, as a woman, I want to specially ask you this question, and then Kushal can come in as well. You know, what we understand till now from Shraddha Walkar's life, she comes from a broken family. So there, of course, are childhood trauma issues which have never been healed. Also, she was in an abusive relation. He's beat her up brutally. The WhatsApp chats show that. Why is it, Amna, that some women find it very tough to come out of abusive relationships? Especially these are women who studied from some of the best schools and are independent women. What is it in the psychology of some women who just can't seem to come out of that abusive relation. What do you think as a woman, as someone who tries to understand society?
I think this question should be asked from some psychologist, psychiatrist expert. I won't be that person. But whatever I have learned and studied, it shows a pattern basically, because you learn to get love in a certain pattern until unless, because your childhood shape up your mind. And there are certain kind of element that you think until unless it is not difficult, it is not love, especially when you come from broken family. And those kind of thing you start searching in your adult relationship as well. So when it feels it's very difficult, this is I have to please that person, so you feel, yeah, this is the true love. So even we understand, our mind understand, but our subconscious mind are trained in so much wrong kind of love, abusive love, that we go after it again and again. That's what happens mostly. But I think it is a very important that we ask this question to the right kind of expert, understand them, listen them, and try to create awareness about it. But the problem with Indian society is that if you talk about mental trauma, if you talk about that mental health issue, they think you are pagal, this simple tag get attached to you. And even if you are a normal human being, and if you are people know that you go to the mental consultant or something like that, if you even talk normally and there is some kind of argument happens, they will use this tag that ye to pagal hai, iski mat suno. So our society need to grow a lot in that sense, because I have seen a lot of people. So people don't want to get attached with that tag, that I'm getting the counseling in that kind of, because they know then their normal life would be so much in problem. Everyone will start looking at them with certain kind of prism. So normalizing also, it's not normalized to give up on relationship, especially for women. This is still there in our society. Relationship toxic ho ya kuch bhi ho, chalana hi chalana hai aapko. And if you come from a broken family, then to ye double taboo ho gaya, ye to broken family se aayi hai. When we talk about even broken family, I have felt like people don't have sympathy. It comes from the very judgment perspective. Oh, wo to broken family se aayi hai, she speaks loud because wo to broken family se aayi hai, she's a weird because she's a, it doesn't come from a very sympathetic perspective. It comes from the judgmental perspective. So people even in India do hide that they come from the broken family. That kind of burden we carry on. So these things has to be normalized basically. We have to rethink those issues. Plus this the meme thing you were talking about. So I realize why people are so outraged, why they are like uh, they're frustrated, because this is the borrow victimhood. They are not feeling anything for that girl. For them it is just that their identity, and they lost a kind of battle, so they are now victim, and that's why that frustration, and they are just manifesting it in the form of meme. So basically it's also kind of patriarchal, but this is the borrow victimhood. So I think I don't have much to add. I think Kushal has explained everything, A to Z. He has covered everything. This borrowhood mindset is a problematic, because you do not feel any sympathy for the victim. You try to borrow that victimhood and then show your frustration, which is actually entirely misplaced. If you see, it's misplaced, because you are not a victim. Victim is that women. Also, I have seen one tweet by someone, I don't remember the name. That person used the horny word for the girl. I mean, these girls go for the Muslim men because they're horny AF. I mean, what kind of, and I think that person has a very good reach also on social media. So you understand that women's sexuality also, and their correct characteristic also comes under the scrutiny. Yeah. Then they talk about why cannot she bear anything from her parents coming from, but with some stranger. What kind of argument is that? Yes, that abuse she shouldn't bear, but that doesn't mean she should have beard like any kind of abuse from the parents. बड़ा अब्यूज छोटा अब्यूज से कंपेयर करके तो छोटा वाला ही सह लेती ना. तो these are certain issues we have to discuss like properly. And in deep down it's patriarchy. It's women are kind of ट्रॉफी एंड किसी और ने उसको विन कर लिया या जो भी किया उसके साथ हम हार गए. दैट्स ट्राइबल माइंडसेट इज देयर वेरी मच प्रिवलेंट.
Kushal, there's another aspect to this. I mean, as per news reports, it's also said that when he wanted to dispose the body, he saw this very popular web series called Dexter. Now, people who watch this web series, it's about this guy who's a serial killer, but then, you know, that thing is turned into something good where he kills the evil people, and, you know, he saw that. Would there be tomorrow even arguments that web series like these also kind of promote this kind of behavior where he says, yeah, I saw Dexter, how to dispose of the body?
Look, I don't know if I've mentioned this before in your podcast, but there was this thing. I don't know if your followers remember Gamergate or something of that sort. This was when the blame game was like violent video games cause violence.
Okay.
This is a perfect case. Like video games cause violence, so video games are the victim. But then, luckily, in the case of video games, they had long-term longitudinal data. And they actually did systematic studies of video games and their impact on society. And lo and behold, what they found was that video games actually have the complete opposite effect. Now, a good summary of that is actually this study. Blame game, violent video games do not cause violence. This is on Psychology Today. Andrew Fishman has shared this study. This is from 2019. This was a meta-analysis of everything. So if you want, you guys can go and read this. I'm just sharing this because you asked a question. So I just got reminded of it.
Sure,
look,
sure.
All these things about, look, whether somebody got inspired by Dexter. Yeah, I mean, but the point is when you make claims, it has to be at a larger level. Like वो कोई भी study होती है ना, उसमें उसको P factor बोलते हैं, वो statistically significant होने के लिए उसका P factor करना पड़ता है set. So if you want it to be statistically significant, then you will have to accept the fact that, you know, one or two anecdotes do not do it. There is a pattern, there are things that happen, and I accept that. वो मैं मानने को तैयार हूँ. मगर Dexter to creating this, यार एक मेरे को एक बात बताओ, हर आदमी देख रहा है ना, ठीक है, हर इंसान देखता है ना, वो क्यों नहीं करते? लाखों करोड़ों लोग देख रहे हैं, वो नहीं करते, ये कर रहा है. पॉइंट ये है कि इसके अतिरिक्त भी इसके पहले बॉडी चॉपिंग के केस हुए हैं. आज समझ लो तभी डेक्स्टर रिलीज नहीं हुआ था, तो उसने क्यों कर लिया? उसने तो नहीं देखा था ना. फॉर एग्जाम्पल अभी मैं बताता हूं, मैंने ये सारा कालाकांडी मेरी थी. ये सारे मैंने बेसिकली सारे लिंक मैंने बैठ के गूगल करके सारे निकाले थे. तो मैं अभी ये क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहता हूं सबसे कि अगर डेक्स्टर इतना इन्फ्लुएंशियल है, एंड आई एम ग्रेटफुल टू नयनिका बिकॉज नयनिका शेयर्ड दिस ऑन ट्विटर. बेसिकली पाप सारे मेरे थे, तो नयनिका पे कोई गुस्सा मत करना, क्योंकि ये बेसिकली मेरी कालाकांडी थी. सो ये 2019 Delhi man slits lover's throat, chops body into pieces after woman refuses to marry. ठीक है जी, ये भी डेक्स्टर था. ठीक है. हत्या कर 11 टुकड़े करने का आरोप, मुंबई. वुमन चॉप्स हस्बैंड्स बॉडी इनटू 11 पीसेस. ये औरत भी डेक्स्टर देख रही थी फिर. अच्छा, ये वुमन क्राइज रेप, मैन चॉप्स हर इनटू 12 पीसेस. इसने भी डेक्स्टर देखा था. अच्छा, ये हमारे इंटरनेशनल केस हो गए हैं. अभी एक कांगोलीज वाइफ थी बेचारी, उसको एक हैदराबाद के आदमी ने पूरा काट के डिसमेंबर कर दिया. ये बहुत पुराना केस है. अच्छा जी, देहरादून, ये किसको याद है? गुलाटी का केस. 7 साल बाद इसको सजा मिली थी. डेक्स्टर देखा था इसने. 70 पीस काटे थे इसने. 70 पीस में काटा था ये टेकी ने. ठीक है. ये IAF मैन, matlab now we have gone in different areas. Cuts body into pieces, stores it in polythene bags. ठीक है? अच्छा, ये छोड़ो. फिर बाद में मैंने क्या किया था कि मैंने नए निका को एक जवाब दिया था. मैंने इसको और वोक बना दिया. ठीक है, बॉडी चॉपिंग को. अभी ये मुस्लिम और ट्रांस दोनों है. इसने भी बॉडी को चॉप कर दिया. ठीक है. और जैसे हमको चैन नहीं मिला ना, लेस्बियन गेट्स लवर्स हस्बैंड किल्ड, इसमें भी बॉडी चॉपिंग हो गई. अभी मैं लेस्बियन क्या, मैं गे को भी ले आता हूं ताकि हम सारे स्पेक्ट्रम पूरे LGBTQAIP जितने भी हैं सब कवर कर लेते हैं. ये गे है. तो मेरे को एक बात बताओ, इन सब ने डेक्स्टर देखा था? पॉइंट ये है कि there is a common factor that leads, and there is a psychology that leads to heinous crimes. Sometimes it could be, एक बहुत फेमस केस था, एक आदमी के ब्रेन में ट्यूमर था और उसने जाके वो हमेशा नॉर्मल था और सडनली हो गया, बोलता है आई गेट थॉट्स ऑफ किलिंग माय वाइफ. उसके ब्रेन में जेन्युइन ट्यूमर था. कैन यू बिलीव? वो ट्यूमर निकला, उसके थॉट्स चले गए. वो मगर ये हर आदमी के साथ नहीं होता. मैं ये कह रहा हूं कि ये बहुत मुश्किल है, मगर वीडियो गेम्स की स्टडी हो चुकी है, ऐसा कुछ होता ही नहीं था. दे कुड नॉट फाइंड एनी स्टैटिस्टिकल सिग्निफिकेंस. बट एज ऑलवेज ये जो माइंडसेट है ना हमारे समाज का, you cannot argue with, like I keep, and people will say Kushal, you're so condescending, you call your society. अरे तो बेवकूफ हैं तो मैं क्या करूं? बेवकूफ को बेवकूफ नहीं बोलूं, बेवकूफ को सियाना बोल दूं. जो ये आर्ग्यूमेंट देते हैं ना, वो कोई सोशियोलॉजी पढ़ते हैं, ना वो कोई स्टडीज पढ़ते हैं, ना उनमें कोई फर्स्ट प्रिंसिपल्स हैं. वो कुछ भी आता है मुंह में आता है बक देते हैं. जो whatever they think of, they just spew nonsense, and after that they expect a person like me to take all of this seriously. There is no evidence. What Dexter? Nothing. It is. You think? Okay, tell me. If we go into history of humanity, way before television was invented, people were not chopping women, or women were not chopping men into pieces. By the way, there is only one pattern by and large that we can see. Most of the time, it is a man chopping women. एक आधा केस मिलेगा औरत ने आदमी को काट के ऐसे बॉडी का किया. मगर ये जो ट्रेंड होता है ना वायलेंस का ट्रेंड ओवरवेलमिंगली मेन ऑन विमेन वायलेंस होती है. विमेन ऑन मेन वायलेंस नहीं होती है. दैट्स द ओनली पैटर्न यू फाइंड. और मेरे को एक बात बताओ, आज से 200 साल पहले, 300 साल पहले तो नहीं था ना. डेक्स्टर नहीं था, टीवी नहीं था, सोशल मीडिया नहीं था, कुछ भी नहीं था. तो तब क्यों होते थे ये किस्से? और आर वी सेइंग chopping the body into pieces is a unique thing? In fact, if we do a statistical analysis, it was a rare thing then, it is a rare thing now, it is a heinous crime, and there is no rationality in these arguments. But people are people. They make stupid arguments. That's what people do.
Right. Amna, carrying on with that.
I think I just wanted to add, I think if someone is thinking to kill someone, that person can get his, inspiration. If you have already decided to kill someone or commit a crime, you can get inspiration from anywhere.
Right.
That is not the reason you're taking inspiration, but you have decided already to commit that crime.
Right. Amna, another thing happened on the internet in this particular case. It was made into a case of grooming jihad. Right now, Kushal on our show, and we've done 2 episodes on it, where we've said that there is a problem among section of Abrahamic, especially the Muslim community, where a very small section of people do indulge in predatory proselytization, right? In which, they fake their identities, hide their names, only with the intention to dupe the girl, later convert her by whatever method into religion, into their religion. But this was not a case of that. Right? I mean, this guy did not fake his identity. They met on a dating app and all. But what started trending by some very popular social media handles, which was a dig at the girl saying, Mera Abdul aisa nahi hai. Saying, Abdul you chose. You also said he's a great guy, but see what he was ultimately, right? Now, this does 2 injustices. One, it does injustice to the real victims of grooming jihad, which we've also seen cases in UK where there was a grooming gang of Pakistanis, and finally, after decades of that shameful silence, it is the current Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, who said that I'm going to go after these gangs. Now, isn't this sad? I mean, you are not taking it issue-wise, and then this thing started spreading, and now this narrative is there, Mera Abdul aisa nahi hai. But this girl knew this guy didn't fake. It was not a case of grooming jihad.
So there is 2-3 thing I would like to say here. Mera Abdul aisa nahi hai. Basically, this is the narrative where we are treating certain problem within a section as some kind of biological reality. If it makes sense. They basically are trying to say that being a Muslim is means you are equal to monster. That's the simple narrative. Means they are saying that this is a biological disease or something, and that is the problem. When you use this thing in a way that an identity is a biological problem or reality, you are making no sense there. Because this you have one. And second thing, coming from a Pashmanda community, because I have seen a very tribal mindset. Most of the Muslims do not want their kids to get married to non-Muslims, men or women. They don't want to. They just say कि शादी करो अपने रिलीजन में और अपने कास्ट में करो. ये चीज सब में है. पठान को पठान से करनी होती है, पाशमानदा को पाशमानदा से करनी होती है. तो if you see the data of interreligious marriages, it is 2.1% according to government website, and including all kind of interreligious marriage. So it's not some kind of like very, we are not talking here like epidemic है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. उस 2.1% में भी कितने सक्सेसफुल मैरिजेस हैं, कितने ग्रूमिंग गैंग के केसेस, ग्रूमिंग गैंग बोला जाए या जो भी बोलते हैं इसको, कि वेयर मोटिव इज नॉट समथिंग एल्स, मोटिव इज बेसिकली टू ट्रैप अ गर्ल. उसको उसका कोई proper studies nahi hai hamare paas. Now there is a two things also happen when a man from the Muslim community or women fall in love with non-Muslims. Many a time that also happens ki it doesn't start with the motive to convert the other person, but now because the love is so strong and also the belief that being a Muslim is so important and your partner should also be a Muslim, then that, you know, that mindset of Abrahamic plays on, and other partner, the Muslim partner, start pressurizing the other partner to convert. Okay, so there are nuances, like it's not start from the mindset to trap the other partner, but then that conditions come into the picture. नहीं, तुमको बदलना पड़ेगा, तुमको चेंज होना पड़ेगा. वो nuances समझ के कि किस तरह से डिफरेंट टाइप से. एक होता है कि जब एक मुस्लिम जो मुस्लिम पर्सन है, उसको अगर हो गया किसी से प्यार जो नॉन मुस्लिम है, तो वो आफ्टरवर्ड स्टार्ट करेगा ये conditions लाना कि you have to convert. That is Abrahamic mindset, but that is also not with the intention of grooming or, you know, from the very previous mindset कि I'm going to convert the other person. So those nuances are always there, and you have to understand it to make your case more strong. What you are doing when you try to paint all the cases with the same brush, you even given the chance from the other side ki bhai ye to nahi hai, I can very easily prove that this is not the love jihad case. This means your claim of whatever it is, grooming and all, is wrong. So they are doing this service to themselves, but there is a mindset. And I was reading some police FIR that there has been cases where they said there is entire gang operate, and they do want Muslim kids to trap the Hindu women and then convert them. अभी तक उसका लेकिन क्या ऑफिशियल स्टेटमेंट आया है, प्रूव हुआ है, नहीं हुआ है, वो मुझे नहीं पता है. However, जब निकिता तोमर का केस देखो, वो बिल्कुल ही लव जिहाद की कैटेगरी में आ सकता है, because guy was asking her to convert and killing after that for not converting. So obviously, yes, when they are trying to make this, pushing all those cases into same category, they are doing the disservice to their own case, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, Kushal, I want to add to that. Simultaneously, since this news has been discussed for last 1 week, and like I said, there is this tendency by one section of intelligentsia to paint it as a grooming jihad narrative. There was actually a case just a few days back of this guy called Mohammed Sufyan, who's arrested after an encounter. Once he pushed a 19-year-old Hindu girl to death in Lucknow, Basant Kuch, Dubaya, Uttar Pradesh. Of course, it's not that big city. It's not the Delhi, Mumbai. So it didn't catch that much of traction. Now, she was pressuring her to convert and marry, right? So this fits the pattern. Instead of, Nidhi trending with regards to the grooming jihad case and people getting sensitized about it, it is unfortunately that it's Shraddha who's getting, trend out there. Shouldn't these guys have focused on the Nidhi case, which as of now prima facie looks like a case of where, you know, Sufyan was indulging in predatory proselytization? So how do you see that?
It's just you can't expect intelligence from a low intelligence crowd. You don't expect intelligence from the mob. The mob does what the mob wants to do. The mobs are not intelligent. So should they have done? Yes. Will they do? No. If this happens again, will they do? No. It's a very simple thing. This case got blown up. It's a recency bias. Now you might say, well, this case is even more recent than the other one, but well, that one is hot. So they just pile it on, and they don't have the intelligence to distinguish between the two. Because I'll tell you why, when they club this as love jihad and the other one gets ignored, why they do a double disservice. Point number one, when they call what is not love jihad, they actually do not look at the psychopathy of that person, Aftab, and what makes people do these heinous crimes, and we actually lose out on the opportunity of actually solving such cases. जब हम देखो सोच इसके बारे में कि अगर हमें आगे देखो आपकी मंशा क्या होनी चाहिए, आगे ऐसे केस नहीं होने चाहिए, हिंदू बच्चा हो, मुसलमान बच्चा हो, क्रिश्चियन बच्चा हो, आपकी मंशा क्या होनी चाहिए कि आगे कोई बच्चे के साथ ये नहीं होना चाहिए. सो अगर आप इस मंशा से करोगे तो आपकी कैटेगराइजेशन बहुत परफेक्ट होनी चाहिए, क्योंकि कैटेगराइजेशन परफेक्ट होने के बाद ही आप उसको डाइसेक्ट करके ब्रेक डाउन कर सकते हो. मगर हम एक ऐसा वाहिद मुल्क है कि हम नहीं करेंगे वो. तो इससे डबल नुकसान क्या हुआ, जो एक तो जो एक्चुअल में ग्रूमिंग जिहाद है वो डिस्कस नहीं हुआ, और उसके ऊपर तो हमने फोकस नहीं किया, और उसकी सोशियोलॉजी अलग होती है, और ये साइकोपैथी जो थी आफ्ताब पूनावाला की, ये साइकोपैथी अलग होती है. अब ये दोनों का नुकसान हो रहा है. क्योंकि जब आपका डिस्कोर्स होता है ना, वो जब वो बेवकूफ किस्म के उल जलूल बातें करने वाले लोगों के हाथ में आ जाता है, तो यही होने वाला. और ये आज नहीं होगा, ये हर टाइम होगा. जब तक हमारी सोसाइटी की हाल ये रहेगी, हम ऐसे ही रहेंगे, हम ऐसे ही हैं. मेरे जैसे लोग बोल देंगे, मुझे लोग गालियां दे देंगे ट्विटर पे, उसके बाद फिर से एक और केस होगा, फिर से यही होगा, फिर मैं वही बोलूंगा कि तुम सब गधे हो, फिर वो मुझे गाली देंगे कि मैंने उनको गधा हुआ, और ये चलते रहेगा. कि मतलब ये वो it is just the mindset. People don't realize the value of proper categorization is because they simply are incapable of thinking like that. It's beyond their reach. This is like me trying to understand quantum mechanics. मेरी औकात नहीं है. For them, this is their quantum mechanics. उनकी औकात नहीं है, वो नहीं समझ सकते हैं ये. उनको सिर्फ monkey see, monkey do. उनको लगता है, see, you need justification, whether it's a Muslim to hate all Hindus, whether it's a Hindu of that white to hate Muslims. Not only, I am not making a claim that it is equal on both sides. Let me be very categorical. It is very much lopsided in one side. When it comes to even hatred of the other, the Muslim hatred of the other kafir is far more than the Hindu hatred of the so-called Malech on the other side. It is way more.
In complete agreement. Agreement.
It is there. But having said that, people who want reasons to hate Muslims willy-nilly will always think like this. So for them, it is a classic case. I want to hate Muslims, I will do this. What they don't realize is that bad solutions never give good results. It only gives worse results. So ab kya kare? It's because they don't want to solve the problem. See, the aim is not solving the problem. The aim is, I hate Muslims. Look, I just showed to you, they are worth my hatred. They are justifying their hatred through these stupid things that they do. That's the aim there. The aim is to justify their own preconceived notions and biases. The aim is not to solve anything else. Or the other aim is, how do I create reasons to control women? Then in their own house, if some woman does something, they'll be like, देखा ना वो श्रद्धा के साथ, अब मैं तुझे नहीं करने दूंगा ये. This is what it is. And it is not rocket science. Anybody with a base level first principles will know what is happening over here. But again क्या होता है मालूम है कि अगर मैं ये बोल दूंगा, मुझे क्लिक्स नहीं मिलेंगे, तो जो कंटेंट जनरेशन लैंडस्केप है ना, उनको तो नफरत करनी पड़ेगी ना. वो अगर नफरत की भेलपुड़ी नहीं बेचेंगे तो उनके वहां कौन खाएगा ना भेलपुड़ी. एक होता है कि भेलपुड़ी बेचनी है, तो नफरत की भेलपुड़ी सबसे आसानी से बिकती है, तो नफरत बेचो. इट इज अ कल्मिनेशन ऑफ दीज थिंग्स. तो आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते हो, आप सिर्फ इसको क्वेश्चन करो, विच इज योर मॉरल ड्यूटी एज अ गुड ह्यूमन बीइंग, विच इज व्हाई आई डू इट. मुझे भी कोई पैसे थोड़ा ना मिलते हैं ये सब करने के, मेरे को तो गालियां ही मिलती है रिटर्न में, और तो कुछ मिलता नहीं है मुझे. बट दिस इज व्हाई दे डू इट. Your job as a rational human being is to raise arguments, give counter arguments, and just leave it there and let the chips fall wherever they fall. I see every time I give these arguments, I do get emails ki bhaiya, I think aapne sahi baat boli, and I do change. But that change is minuscule. I have no delusions of grandeur. But again, as long as the state, and by the way, the Indian state is not as stupid in these cases. The Indian state is mature. The Indian state is run by mature people. As long as that is done, I can't say that about the cops. Cops have a lot of misogynistic views about women. Cops need sensitization and training in India. But the Indian state apparatus is not as stupid as the Indian citizenry.
Yeah.
Amna, you wanted to come in?
Yeah, I wanted to add one thing. Just because you have some preconceived notion and you want to give some kind of color or narrative to any case, you do this service to a lot of people, including yourself. Because if you're not being objective, you are not being rational, you are not being able to identify the problem, and when you're not able to identify problem, you will not able to find a solution. And whom this gonna actually affect in the end? Your society. That's why being rational and objective is very important. So those people who are thinking, if I say a lot of thing and I many times see a backlash coming in my way because of my identity, I don't do that because of my identity. I'm okay with all kind of bashing if it is right to the Muslim. But if there is not such a angle involved and there are different issue and you're still bringing that up, you are losing a chance to find a solution to those problems, and those problems also affect your society. There is not only one problem for your society. We live in a society, and a lot of other factors do affect us. So why not we as a mature society think about those factors as well? वो भी तो solve करने ही पड़ेंगे ना हमको.
Right.
So I hope the people who comes many time and do target me for my identity, they should first ask themselves questions ki why I am just seeing her as I identity, despite her trying her best to be objective and rationality. They can have argument, but I will only indulge in the argument or communication if it will be coming from a very normal, and from a perspective where I know I am not getting targeted and seeing from that prism already. So I think I needed to say that after going through a lot of such tweets.
Right. Kushal and Amana, again, question for both of you. Now, there is also an argument, and to some extent, I do understand where that comes from. Now, if you see the same Times of India, if you see the same Indian Express, if you see the same Hindu, if the identities were reversed, if it would have been a Hindu guy killing a Muslim, first of all, they would have specified in bold letters on that first page of TOI, amongst all those ads, that Muslim Hindu kills a Muslim live-in partner. And that is another propaganda which the communists who hold the mind space of the English reading public do. So that is the genuine angst the other side does have, right? Because they do that. If it is a murder like this also, they would have done it. Of course, I'm not saying that the reaction is also justified. Would you concede that, Kushal, that there is that angst as well, and it's a playbook that has been in use since our independence, I'm assuming?
Yeah. So what? See, I don't know how to say this. The point kya hai? Is the mainstream media full of shit? Yes. Point taken. I don't consume their news. I don't listen to them. I don't buy anything they say. I try to rebut everything they say. Now, what am I supposed to do? First, look at them and then become exactly a mirror image of them. Right? So their basic idea is that the grand solution of, again, this hashtag 70 IQ that I always say, crowd, is to defeat the 70 IQ Islamist. I become a 70 IQ Islamist. I mean, I don't get this. Like, what? क्या करना क्या करना है हमको? क्या हमको हमारे समाज को बेहतर बनाना है कि हमारे समाज को बद से बदतर बनाना है? हमको करना क्या है? मैं कौन सा मेन स्ट्रीम मीडिया को सपोर्ट करता हूं? मैं ये कह रहा हूं कि जो मेन स्ट्रीम मीडिया बायस्ड है, इसमें कुछ मतलब थैंक यू कैप्टन ऑब्वियस इज ऑल आई कैन से. I mean, what do I say? It is so obvious they are biased.
Right. Amna, your view on that?
On what? I mean,
On the fact that अगर identities reverse होती तो Times of India, Indian Express, Hindu, Caravan इसको एक इशू बना देते. देखिए मुसलमान लड़की को हिंदू ने मार दिया तो Muslims are in danger
actually,
in India.
through truth to be told, the this side of fringe, whatever right से है या नहीं है, they are actually trying to copycat that stuff. जो करते आए थे एक narrative बनाने के लिए, always use the identity, always use the identity. But I am very surprised that a lot of mainstream media, they are changing now. So आफ्ताब का नाम बहुत सारों ने दिया है. If you see, टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया ने भी दिया है, बहुत
वो
सारे
तो बहुत ह्यूमनाइज ना, फूड ब्लॉगर, लिव इन
बाद में, लेकिन दिया भी कुछ नहीं. मतलब जो पहले बिल्कुल ब्लैंकेट था, उसमें थोड़े थोड़े लोग स्टार्ट कर चुके हैं आफ्टर आउटरेज कि नहीं हमको ये डालना पड़ेगा. थोड़े से चेंजेस आए हैं, यू कैन से दैट. देन व्हेन यू सी द
I share that assessment.
Yeah, so yeah, then sometime you feel ki maybe this 70 IQ population is also needed. So mainstream media mein kuch to changes tha. I mean, at one point you're just like, what are you talking, guys? Please don't be so stupid. But then you see that those stupid people are making maybe some differences. Don't know how to see it basically.
Right.
So yeah, that is there. The things are changing also, and yes, this is the copycat of the left, what they used to do earlier.
Right. Another thing which was disgusting was that Suresh Chavkhane, the owner of Sudarshan TV, made public the wedding card of an interfaith couple, in Mumbai, I guess, Vasai, right? And it was, I don't want to say the names out, I don't want to add to it, where there was nothing hidden. It was a Muslim guy marrying a Hindu woman, and there was actually on the wedding card, when I saw, there was a Ganesh ji ki murti on top, and they were welcoming their friends, and the guy had written his son and so Muslim name you could recognize, and and he called that love jihad, and they had to cancel their wedding reception and function. But what was ironic was this: the guy who tweeted first to Mumbai police, which any law-abiding citizen should, was Islamist Mohammed Zubair, who himself, some months back, the way he slyly tweeted, cut those clips, send out blasphemy mobs, 6 people lost their lives, heads were chopped, right? And this guy was telling Suresh Chekwane, what are you doing? And Suresh Chekwane, but what on earth was Suresh Chekwane doing to this couple? I mean, at the end of the day, if the marriage is between two individuals where the thing is not hidden, it's a beautiful thing, right? I mean, whether the Islamists hated this side or whether the extremely small fringe of on the Hindu side, how do you see what Suresh Chekwane did, and then what Zubair, of course, was trying to play the whole?
I think he's Chavanke.
Okay.
Yeah. So Suresh Chavanke, if I remember his name, bhai main dekho, I don't watch his content. I could care less. But if I'm looking at the bare bones of this incident, it's disgusting, man. What he's done is disgusting. He's disgusting for doing this. I mean, he has no right. Again, why did he feel the need to do it? Because he thinks women are some chattel. He has the right to control women. Who gave you the right? See, even in the whole process of making bad choices, those people have the right to make those bad choices. I'm not saying this is a bad choice. Please don't get me wrong. But the government lets you smoke with a statutory warning. It does not stop you. I mean, Gujarat does not let you drink, but well, Gujarat is stupid. So is Bihar. But the point is, you can't tell people whom to marry, whom not to marry, man. They just
put out their wedding card in public and threaten their lives.
Disgusting people.
And
disgusting.
That marriage seems like everybody is involved.
The parents' names are mentioned.
Marriage card, लड़की के पापा ने डाला था, मतलब they were inviting. So family were also like they're involved.
आमना इसमें लेसन ये है कि ईगर बीवर बन के अपने मैरिज के कार्ड अभी सोशल मीडिया पे मत डालो, क्योंकि उल्लू के पट्टे कुछ भी हरकतें करेंगे अभी.
True.
And you know, the thing was, he used that same line which was being made viral, मेरा अब्दुल ऐसा नहीं है.
नहीं
So
यार,
he
ये
also
देखो,
used it.
और मैं खुला बोल रहा हूँ, मैं लिंचिस्तान का राइट विंग वर्जन मेरा अब्दुल ऐसा नहीं है.
Makes sense.
लिंचिस्तान का राइट विंग वर्जन मेरा अब्दुल ऐसा नहीं है. यार हद कर दी है, लोग पागल हो चुके हैं. अरे हमारा सोसाइटी का अल्टीमेट गोल क्या है? वी ब्रेक डाउन ट्राइबलिज्म, वी बिकम इंडिविजुअल यूनिट्स, वी ब्रेक द बॉन्ड्स ऑफ कास्टिज्म, we break this over religiosity. Hindus and Muslims are friends, intermarrying. अरे जितना डाइवर्स जेनेटिक पूल उतना एक सोसाइटी के लिए अच्छा होता है. अबे उल्लू के पठो, साइंस तो देख लो. साइंस ही नहीं पढ़ते.
Yeah, I wanted to come to that, Amna, actually.
Amir Khan.
Another thing, what happened was Amir Khan was getting abused day for yesterday because his daughter Ira Khan got engaged to famous fitness trainer Nupur Shikhare, right? And he was being abused right, left, center by Islamists, saying that this guy is actually a kafir, and you know,
वो भी साले पागल है, और वो पागल on steroids है.
right? And he was getting abused, and you know, matlab Ira Khan to hai hi nahi Musliman, and see what he's doing now. But you know, I have another thing here. The fact is that somewhere you also then understand, for this particular society, which you look at I mean, there are 100 Indias within India. The middle class से ऊपर का जो सेक्शन है, वहां ये चीजों की फिर भी थोड़ी एक एक्सेप्टेंस है, राइट? उसके नीचे देयर कैन बी कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस ऑफ किलिंग, राइट? सो somewhere it's also कि you're not, मतलब it's a unique paradox where they say, you know, हिंदी फिल्म इंडस्ट्री shows something जो रियलिटी नहीं है, बट उनकी पर्सनल लाइफ वैसी है, तो उनको भी लगता होगा कि यार
क्यों है, वो मॉडर्न है,
you know,
एजुकेटेड है, मॉडर्निटी जीत गई उधर.
So how do you see the whole Ira Khan thing? I mean, here it's a Hindu marrying a Muslim.
Yeah.
And the Islamists were like going bonkers.
There is a one difference though. Look, and here जो ये लोग है ना, ये जो मेरा अब्दुल वाला है, वो बहुत बड़ा डिससर्विस कर रहे हैं, बिकॉज एक एवरेज हिंदू शायद उतना इतना गुस्से में नहीं आएगा seeing that some Hindu girl is getting married, if that makes sense to you. Okay. They're trying to create that narrative from tribalism, but in Muslim it is inbuilt. If a Muslim is a conservative, he will feel this is the wrong. He says it or not on the social media. Social media
हमेशा लाइन मेरा अब्दुल ऐसा नहीं है क्यों होता है ना, मेरी सलमा ऐसी नहीं है क्यों नहीं होता?
सलमा चाहिए.
Exactly.
Yeah, अब्दुल को देना नहीं. So yeah, so
of course someone like Suresh Chavkhan, I get the surname, whatever it is, Chavanke would be happy with the whole Ira Khan thing, right? Then like Nupur Shikhare is won over. Ira Khan pata hai ho gayi hai.
Yeah, so the problem,
and they were also very happy with Katrina Kaif and Vicky Kaushal.
But Katrina Kaif, I don't know if she believes in any religion, to be very. So
I mean, that's what a lot of Islamists also say, no, कि ये तो असल में मुसलमान के लायक के नाम ही नहीं है, तो ऐसा क्या करती है उनकी वो मुसलमान है?
यहाँ पे थोड़ी डिफरेंस की बात है, मतलब we use Islamist, but I think it's not only Islamist, it's conservative Muslim as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Conservative Muslims पूरा.
ये थर्ड क्लास यार, ये मैं बोलता हूँ ना, to use a very crass word, ये टट्टी दिमाग है. मुझसे और कुछ बोला नहीं जाता. I am sorry. मैं मतलब मेरे को इतनी नफरत है ना इस माइंडसेट से कि यार तुमको किसने अधिकार दिया है एक औरत क्या कर रही है उसकी लाइफ में? मैं औरत अपना सरनेम चेंज करती है, औरत एक मूव करती है, औरत ये, अरे यार तुमको और कितना कंट्रोल करना है औरत को? तुमको चैन नहीं मिला है क्या? तुमको चैन नहीं मिला है, तुम खा जाओगे क्या? और मैं ये क्लियर बोल रहा हूं, मुस्लिम समाज में ये थर्ड रेटेडनेस हिंदू समाज से बहुत ज्यादा है. इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि सुरेश चव्हाण के अगर करेगा तो, मगर इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि अगर सुरेश चव्हाण के कोई बकवास काम करेगा उसको कॉल आउट नहीं करना चाहिए. करना चाहिए उसको, बिकॉज ही इज इन अ पोजिशन ऑफ पावर, ही इज अ पब्लिक फिगर. यार क्या बकवास चालू है यार? अगेन क्यों किया जाता है? क्लिक बेट.
Exactly.
Well, more than that, it's creepy. Someone's wedding card you put out on the net. I mean, they are
मैं अभी
scared
नेक्स्ट
for
टाइम क्या
life
करूंगा
now
मालूम
getting
है, अभी
married.
इन लोगों के साथ एक सोकैल होक्स करना पड़ेगा, फेक एड्रेस, फेक मैरिज, फेक सब कुछ, और सोशल मीडिया पे डालो, ये लोग उसको ढूंढते रहेंगे, लोग जाके बोलेंगे किधर शादी हो रहा है, किधर शादी हो रहा है। ना वो एड्रेस एग्जिस्ट करता है, ना आदमी एग्जिस्ट करता है, ना औरत एग्जिस्ट करती है, और ये दोनों के ऊपर होक्स करने का। कभी मुसलमान लड़की हिंदू लड़के से शादी कर रही है, कभी हिंदू लड़की मुसलमान लड़के से शादी कर रही है, और ऐसे दोनों साइड को होक्स करो, येड़े के जैसे उतर जाएंगे। हाँ एक चीज है, इस्लामिस्ट उधर पक्का मारने जाएंगे, हिंदूज की प्रोबेबिलिटी कम होएगी, ये मैं खुला कह रहा हूं।
शादी रुकवाने जाएंगे।
हाँ, नहीं मतलब जुबैर का हिट रेट विल ऑलवेज बी हायर देन सुरेश।
और मजा करना है,
और
मजा करना है ना, मजा करना है ना, ये अब मैं ओपनली बोल रहा हूं कि ये होक्स होना चाहिए। ये होने के बाद भी पीपल विल फॉल फॉर इट आफ्टर मी अनाउंसिंग ऐसा होक्स होना चाहिए। दैट इज हाउ स्टूपिड, दैट इज हाउ स्टूपिड आवर डिस्कोर्स इज। और मैं बोल रहा हूं, ये लास्ट अगले 6 महीने में अगर तुम सेंसिबल लिबरल हिंदू और मुस्लिम हो ना, ये होक्स करो, ये होक्स करो, नकली चीजें बनाओ, टोटली रॉन्ग एड्रेस, टोटली रॉन्ग नेम्स, टोटली रॉन्ग कॉन्सेप्ट, मगर डालो, देखो कैसे लोग फॉल करते हैं इसके लिए, उल्लू के पट्ठों के जैसे।
You know, that gets me to another thought. You know, it's very funny that there are a lot of posts that I'm reading, and they say, you know, when it comes to Shahrukh, Gory, when it comes to Amir Khan, you know, his sisters and now his daughter marrying into Hindu community, when it comes to Salman Khan, these are exceptions. Okay, and this is not a, you know, pattern. But then it's the same crowd that even at the drop of a hat calls them also anti-nationals, no, at times. So where it suits, it suits. Where it doesn't suit, it doesn't suit.
मेरे को एक बात बताओ, ये लोग सब लोग क्या, वो याद है वो पिक्चर थी, वो शादीराम घर जोड़े होता था, सदाशिव अमरापुरकर एक कैरेक्टर, ये लोग सब ये लोग शादीराम घर जोड़े नहीं है,
कूली नंबर 1,
ये लोग शादीराम घर तोड़े हैं, ये लोग सबके घर तोड़ने के पीछे पड़े हुए। भाई तुमको क्या करने गए? देर आर जेन्युइन केसेस, याद है जो वो पॉडकास्ट की थी हमने, जहां पे बजरंग दल जेन्युइन इंटरवेंशन करता है, मैं उसको सपोर्ट कर रहा था कि जेन्युइन केसेस ऑफ टॉर्चर होते हैं मुस्लिम लड़कियों, हिंदू लड़कियों के ऊपर, प्रेडेटरी प्रोसेलिटाइजेशन, और वहां पे फोकस करो ना। तुम क्या मतलब बेसिकली क्या मालूम है, ये है ना, ये जो फोक का एक्टिविज्म होता है ना, पहले क्या होता था, कम से कम नीचे उतर के लोगों को मोमबत्ती की ड्राइव करनी पड़ती थी, ठीक है, कैंडल लाइट मार्चेस करनी पड़ती थी। सोशल मीडिया ने क्या किया है, कैंडल लाइट मार्च भी अभी टू मच है, मैं प्लेकार्ड लेके खड़ा हो जाता हूँ। ये लोगों ने, इसके लिए मेरी वो टी शर्ट है, स्लाई प्लग, आउटरेज की दुकान, सब लोग ने आउटरेज की दुकान खोल के रखी हुई है, ये रोज आउटरेज करते हैं, रेक्रिएशनल आउटरेज है, इनको है ना अच्छा लगता है ऐसे आउटरीच करके। अब मेरी भड़ास है ना, देख मेरी बीवी, मुझे आज मेरे को नाश्ता नहीं मिला, बीवी को पति ने ताने मार दिए, वो सारे लोग जो फ्रस्ट्रेटेड है ना, सतीश कौशिक का डायलॉग याद है, मैं तो आदमी बड़ा फ्रस्ट्रेटेड हूँ, ये सब साले फ्रस्ट्रेटेड है। ये लोग रोज आते हैं सोशल मीडिया पे, अपनी फ्रस्ट्रेशन दूसरे के ऊपर निकालते हैं और हल्का फील करते हैं, बोलते हैं अभी नाउ आई फील बेटर, और हम इनके ऊपर फ्रस्ट्रेशन निकाल रहे हैं इनको देख के। So basically everybody is feeling better at the end of the day. This is how messed up this is.
I'm not, on one side the argument is that the Hindi film industry targets the Hindu beliefs and, you know, puts them all in negative. But then today the same arguments are being made that icons and global celebrities like Salman, Amir and Shahrukh, whether they get into Interfaith, those are the genuine ones. Rest community mein it's not genuine, those are rare. Do you think that's a correct argument to some extent, or?
No, that's not correct argument. The thing is that you have to get out of the generalization. The more you will see the at identity from the generalized perspective, the more you will lose it. So you won't make any sense. So basically, in my class,
but they're a minority, that you would agree, right?
Minority in which sense?
Amongst the Muslim community, they're a minority who are fine to get married into people of other faiths without.
No, because now I'm reading the more data. Do you know that in US, I mean, 4 among the 10 women, Muslim women, are getting married to non-Muslims. So it's your society. Yeah, it's your society also.
इंडिया में एंडोगेमी कितनी है आमना, जात के बाहर शादी नहीं करते, तो रिलीजन तो बहुत दूर की बात है।
हाँ, तो अब वो भी एक अलग, मतलब वो एक हमारी बहुत ट्राइबलिस्टिक सोसाइटी है अभी इंडिया में। अर्बन सोसाइटी उसको खत्म करती है, बट अर्बन में भी इनफैक्ट अर्बन में भी अलग अलग सेक्टर्स हैं, तो उसमें भी वहां पे भी आपको ट्राइबलिज्म मिल जाता है, विलेजेस में और ज्यादा ट्राइबलिज्म मिल जाता है। तो जब तक ये इंडिविजुअलिटी वाली जो कंसेप्ट है वो पूरी तरह से प्लेस नहीं होती है सोसाइटी में इंडियन, तब तक बहुत मुश्किल है ज्यादा इंटर रिलीजियस और इंटर कास्ट मैरिज देखना। इवन प्यू का जो डेटा था, रिसर्च डेटा, उसमें जो दिया था उसमें मुस्लिम्स वर 10% लेस देन हिंदू इन एक्सेप्टिंग इंटर रिलीजियस और इंटर कास्ट मैरिजेस। सो मतलब ओवरऑल कंडीशन ही हमारी यही है कि हमें नहीं पसंद है हमारी लड़कियां किसी और ट्राइब में शादी करें बेसिकली।
Right.
So
I think lastly, for the poor girl who paid with her life, Kushal, you and Amana, anyone who wants to take it first, what would you tell? I mean, if there's anyone who's listening to us, to the Shraddha Walkars who are going through abuse, and we're not judging them, it's a position where they're not being able to break free of it. Some are getting raped within their homes. It's their own parents, it's their grandparents. They don't want to feel that shame. And then these things happen. What can souls like these do so that it doesn't, it can minimize?
First of
I will
all,
start.
तुम बोलो, मैं लास्ट बोलूंगा.
I will start because I want to share a story of my friend who committed suicide also. So she was going through the same very abusive relationship. I was the one to support her. If you remember, मैं मुंबई में थी, and जब
Yes.
उसके boyfriend ने उस पे हाथ उठाया, I took her to the police station. I said, you have to do the FIR and just get out of this shit. And that man was like that time so scared, he started promising her to get married. I want to get married you in that same police station. I said, cannot you make the sense, because now he is in a trouble, so he want to marry you, he is using those thing what you want, he is offering you right now, तो उसका जो अभी मुसीबत से में है इससे बाहर आ जाए. But that was the moment I saw my friend so weak emotionally that she couldn't make the sense out of it. And I was so angry on her at that point because I can see what's going on. But instead of getting so angry, I said it won't work here. I have to understand her mindset. And I was still with her. I said, okay, you want to take your FIR back, you go ahead, but I will be in touch with you. So you will, because sometimes you can't make them empower immediately. You have to give them time and give them the time to, to slowly become strong. And they have to go through the counseling and a lot of other stuff. They have to help themselves along with their family and all those stuff. Uska bhi yahi tha, family was not talking to her basically because of a lot of reason, blah blah. And end mein, because I was not there, I was out of India, and I think I was in my city, and I got news that she committed the suicide, and that man was the reason in the end, the torture of him. So it's very easy to judge those people because you are not the one going through it, right? You have all the things are right in your life, so it feels, oh, aise kaise ho gaya. It's very vulnerable position when you love someone from your all heart and you want it to be reciprocated, and that person plays a mind manipulative game. In that moment I have seen that humans are not like human. That time they are not able to make sense of a lot of thing around them. They're so weak, so fragile. So it's very easy to pass the judgment and give the advice. If you can do something, at least think about it, make yourself aware if you cannot do that anything, or try to be supportive to those persons, right? So मेरे को ये बहुत अफसोस होता है जब मैं लोगों को देखती हूँ. And श्रद्धा का जो victim blaming था, it started reminding me of my friend. Like a lot of people used to say कि बेवकूफ थी, ये क्या कर लिया, या कोई नहीं चाहता है अपने आप को खत्म करना, राइट? एंड कोई नहीं चाहता है कि उसकी जिंदगी खत्म हो जाए. बट वी ह्यूमंस आर at some point very strong, but at some point very weak. It's all among us. हम भी उस पोजीशन में हो सकते हैं. You feel कि नहीं हम तो नहीं करेंगे, but you don't know, you're not going through that situation. The moment you will go, then you will start understanding कि what's happening into your head, why you are not strong enough to stand, right? So I think we need to see about this situation, this human fragility, weakness through different perspective, not from the other perspective. This you could be also the same person if you will go through the same situation. So maybe then we will be able to have some sympathy for those victims. Yeah, that's
Kushal, yeah.
My message would be very simple. if you have women in your house, whether it's a sister, whether it's a mother, who go through abuse, stand up for them. First of all, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. I'm just making a gender neutral statement. Stand up for them, counsel them, take them to counselors, take them to therapists, support them while they do that. Point number two, if you have people who are vulnerable, let them know you're there for them. Let them know constantly that you're there for them. When people are in an emotional state of mind, the rational faculties really don't work. That's why that's just the nature. And always remember, we don't know how much of this is actually the gene culture co-evolution. There is mimetic and there is genetic factors also. In some cases, we don't know how much of the genetic factor also plays into these unfortunate incidences. Science has a long way to go to understand this. The least we can do is have sympathy. The least we can do is, look, a better society is a society where women are free. A better society is not the kind of society that we want to imagine for ourselves. We will not have economic growth. We will have no growth, basically. We will just be a third world shithole. That's all we will be. And we will keep on living in our Vishwaguru syndrome. And that's all we can do. But if you're a girl who's going through this, don't. And I know it's very hard. And I know it, and many times you'll see these girls are not talking to the family has abandoned them. Look, don't abandon your family. There is a fine line between letting your family dictate your life and also abandoning your family. Family plays a very good role. Family is a stabilizing factor. This is why I believe soft conservatism sometimes actually is a healthy sign in a society. Where I don't mean hard conservatism, soft conservatism. Soft conservatism leads to family values, and there is value in that. And have the habit of sharing with somebody. You should have a confidant. And if you are a confidant of that person, it's your moral responsibility to reach out to the family of that person, that so and so of your family is going through this rubbish, without that person knowing, first of all. And the family, when you know, make sure that you don't tell the daughter that I came to know. Just try to find ways of reaching out to the daughter. So that's what I would say. It's just a terrible thing, man. It doesn't matter what religion you belong to. Nobody deserves to be chopped into pieces. That man was clearly a psychopath. And we need to study that man's character. Like, he had no telltale signs, man. He was not uber religious. He was not religious at all. This Poonawalla freaking food blogger, what a piece of shit he ended up being. So we have to be very careful. And that's about it. And you just feel terrible for the parents, that parents did not even know their daughter was dead. Imagine the plight of, I'm not a parent, I don't have children, but for people who have children, imagine the torture they go through, that their daughter was dead and they did not even know about it. They did not know. Imagine how shattered that family is. I don't know, man. It's just, it's a mess. And I wish our society would not have shown its dark side in this episode. बाकी क्या करेंगे? It's not going to stop. इसके बाद भी गधे आएंगे. मगर what we can do is, our close, near and dear ones, we reach out to them and we save them.
Yeah. Abuse at the end of the day stops at home, right? Better home, a safe home where
by the way,
everybody can
on
express.
Abuse, do you know the maximum amount of abuse on women is actually done with the immediate family and people who are close by? There are studies
90%,
that show.
Yeah.
So when people say get scared of the imaginary outsider, predatory proselytizer, or in the case of the Islamist, the predatory Hindu, the highest amount of abuse on women is done from the family and immediate circle. So if anything, what if I am going by that, तो औरत को तो सबसे ज़्यादा अपनी family से डरना चाहिए.
I think that is also the reason that women are not able to read the red flags. Because घर में ही वो जब security नहीं मिलती तो you are not able. And this should also be worked out कि how to teach women कि red flags क्या है. Starting में ही इसको read करना.
Yeah, counseling.
You stop the abuse at home and you make a better world, make a better home, make a better world, right? And yeah, I mean, we hope matlab, this soul of Shraddha gets the justice and there are no more Shraddhas in the world. And I don't think so. Those jokes and memes at the end of the day, I mean, they would crack if Shraddha was from their family, right? So I don't know, whatever dark humor and all. All right. Thank you so much, Kushal. Thank you so much, Amna, to speak on this topic that has engulfed the nation. I hope we've given a different perspective. We know it won't get much clicks. It's not Mera Abdul Aisa hai or Suresh, whatever. I don't get the surname right. With the putting out, doing creepy things. Don't put the wedding cards of people on social media to attack them, please. It's creepy, right? Even he needs help. Some childhood trauma there. So, yeah, right. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.